Singapore hangs first woman in 19 years for 31 grams of heroin.
Here's a summary of the article.
Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Singapore conducted its first execution of a woman in 19 years on Friday and its second hanging this week for drug trafficking, despite calls for the city-state to cease capital punishment for drug-related crimes. Activists said another execution is planned next week. Have a confidential tip for our reporters? Get in touch. It's on the Bloomberg terminal.
This post received a score of 26,000, with an upvote ratio of 93%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
I went to do some contract work in Singapore in 2004. I remember very clearly reading a card they gave you with some travel tips as you entered the airport stating at the bottom in big bold red font, "Drug traffickers will be put to death." Note. Apparently this needs to be said. My little anecdote is not meant to excuse or justify what happened to or happens to people caught with or distributing a country's illegal substances. Just something I remembered from the time I went there 19 years ago.
If you fly to Singapore, a cheery voice will announce, possession of drugs is punishable by death. Smiley face.
I was on a flight from Singapore to Sydney once and they fucked up the announcement pre-arrival in Sydney and said the same speech but said under Australian law. Freaked a few people out.
Is it not pre-recorded? Did a radio DJ mix the two tracks? How's that possible?
They accidentally let the Singaporean stewardess out of the cupboard instead of the Australian one.
Singapore conducted its first execution of a woman in 19 years on Friday and its second hanging this week for drug trafficking, despite calls for the city-state to cease capital punishment for drug-related crimes. Singapore's laws mandate the death penalty for anyone convicted of trafficking more than 500 grams, 17.64 ounces, of cannabis and 15 grams, 0.53 ounces, of heroin. Activists said another execution is set next week.
What are the required doses to hang someone over magic mushrooms or LSD?
Possession of LSD, up to a maximum of 10 years of imprisonment or a fine of $20,000, or both. Consumption of LSD, at least 1 year of imprisonment, up to a maximum of 10 years of imprisonment with a maximum fine of $20,000. Illegal traffic of LSD, up to 20 years of imprisonment and 15 strokes of the cane. Illegal import or export of LSD, at least 5 years of imprisonment and 5 strokes of the cane, up to a maximum of 20 years of imprisonment and 15 strokes of the cane. No death penalty for LSD.
Can I commit a crime where I only get my cane stroked as punishment?
Worst part is they don't tell you when they are gonna cane you. Every day you sit and wonder if that day is it. The cone to yourself, nope. Not today. Then one day you relax a bit. Maybe they forgot? Nope. Caning. Then you can't sit or lay down for a month. The caning is bad.
Fun, vaguely related fact: Japan is the only country in the world that doesn't tell you when you'll be executed. They just turn up one day.
Do they give you a known window? There's a bit of a problem here. Suppose they say you won't know what day it is going to be, but Friday is the last possible day. If it gets to Thursday and you weren't caned, then you know it must be Friday, but that's impossible since they promised you wouldn't know. So we can rule out Friday, and in fact Thursday is the last possible day. Now apply that logic 3 more times and it turns out they can never cane you. Woohoo!
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.